Welcome to the Parenting Athletes Podcast, where sports, character, and parenting come together. My name is Kevin with my good friend Alex.
Today, we're going to be talking about what coaches wish that us parents understood.
Now, the interesting thing is we are the us parents, but we also get to speak on behalf of the us coaches. We were just chatting right now, and collectively we have 36 years of coaching. Actually, both 18 years.
That's right.
Which is a lot of experience, a lot of joy, some tears, a lot of gray hairs.
Some grays. You've got a dad bod, I've got a father figure. So, that's what happens.
So Alex, what do you think, as a coach, what do you wish that parents understood?
Definition of your role. You're the parent, you're not the coach. And I think as coaches, that's particularly challenging for us because coaching has been our profession for a long time. So if parents could really focus on what they do, which is parent, and do that part well, and leave the coaching. And, I think of this because my whole family's in education. I'm not really capable of teaching math. Like at the school my kids go to, we have a rock star math teacher. Trisha, you're awesome. She's amazing. I don't say, why are you doing it that way? Right? Like I can't, and I understand she's an elite teacher. That's great. But a lot of times we like to, as parents, go into places that, even if it is our area of expertise, you and me, we shouldn't be questioning those coaches. But a lot of times it's not an area of expertise, and we're actually undermining the messages that the coach is trying to get across.
Yeah, I think that's really key. Is so at our school we talk about there's a partnership between the parent and the teacher, a partnership between the school and the teacher and the parents. And I think that's important. But I think that partnership also goes between the coach and the parent. One thing that I hope that all my parents believe in me is that I care deeply about their child. And I would say most of the time, most coaches really care about the players. I mean, is that your experience?
Well, certainly, overwhelming majority. And I know that there's going to be parents out there who could completely and rightfully say to us, oh, but you don't know my kid's coach, and it's all about them. And I would say, I don't know, but I do know that those kind of coaches exist. However, for the most part, this is not, especially at the youth level, this is not the kind of profession it's not even a profession if you're coaching youth sports, right? And even like I live in Wisconsin, what high school coaches get paid in Wisconsin, I think if it was supposed to be a wage, it would have been minimum wage, like from back in the 50s or something, with the amount of time that these people put in. So I think coaches' hearts are in the right place. And I want to go back to the partnership piece, because a strong belief. Good coaches make parents better. Good parents make coaches better. And how does that work? Well, if my kid's got a good coach who teaches him certain values and reemphasizes things that I've been saying, how many times you had this happen? You've been telling a kid before they could understand language, you've been telling them something. And then they come home at 12. Dad, guess what? Coach told me this awesome thing. And you're thinking, if I counted that, we might be in 5 digits in terms of how often. But that coach, who's a cool coach, just got the message across that for whatever reason wasn't landing coming from me. At the same time, if I'm a good parent and my kid's having an issue and I parent him well, but he's struggling with his coach, and say, you know what? You need to go talk to your coach about that privately in a respectful way that honors him. They fix it. He follows the coach better, takes some stress off the coach, becomes a support mechanism for the coach. Now, my parenting helps free up some stuff for the coach and allows him to lead the team in a more efficient way.
Yeah. I mean, I would say it this way. Your child's development accelerates when the adults are aligned. And so if we get an alignment where the parent understands their role and the coach is understanding his role, and there is an alignment there, the child's growth is exponential. They will grow more than when they're disjointed. And not only that, with sports, I would say that in anything with your child, the more the adults are aligned, the more your child can grow.
Well, in any team, in any situation, in organization, the alignment allows for greater freedom. If I don't have to think about these authority figures in my life, my parents and my coaches having conflicting messages and having to try to navigate that, then you know what I can do? I can just focus on the game.
Right.
I got enough to think about as a 10 to 15-year-old, whatever your kid is, we're trying to figure out, how do I do this skill in the setting? How do I run this play? Mm-hmm. And I don't run it as effectively as I'm thinking about, wait, but dad and mom said this, but then coach says this. And how do I, it's confusing and can really lead to paralysis and not good performance.
No, that's good. I want to move on to this question. Why do coaches get frustrated with parents?
Well, so at our last NBTC coaches convention, I actually talked about coaches and parents defining roles and aligning goals. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of it is because we act out of those roles as parents. And can I just say, as somebody who coached at a professional level, I've made this mistake and I'm sorry. So I'm not saying like we're above ever blowing it, but I try never to coach my kids. Every now and then I'll see the coaching is never to say, don't do what the coach says. It'll be, but he's doing this, you need to do this. So I might go like, hey, and I won't say my son's name, but hey, look at this off the ball screen. They're doing that. Boom.
Right.
Or, Bud, sprint back when they get the ball. You're pausing.
Yeah. And
then I realize like, I'm not on the bench. What am I doing? His full attention needs to be on the coach.
Yeah.
But as a coach, I'm so used to coaching. And when I see stuff that are my pet peeves, I've made that mistake. So I think getting the parents to just cheer, just be supportive and let the coach is like everything I've heard from friends. It's the number one thing.
Yeah. And there's some practical examples with that. Like we had this situation. So I was coaching a younger team and we never denied the ball. It didn't matter if they picked it up. And common basketball vernacular is when somebody picks up the ball, you're one pass away, you deny. And so this parent kept yelling at their child, deny the ball, deny the ball. Well, because we're youth basketball, we did not have the help side set up. And so I would much rather everybody be in help and learn that development of basketball before we're in deny, because now I know we're not getting back cut.
Right.
And so this parent is constantly yelling deny, getting mad at their child. And I'm over here saying, hey, don't do that. Hey, he did deny. So what happens? He got benched because the bench teaches. And I come out, oh yeah, well, my dad said, and I go, listen, bud, I really like your dad, but right now the only voice you listen to is me.
Right.
And so I think that's happens consistently where the dad's not wrong.
Right.
Because he knew basketball. Right. But he wasn't right for the context of the team.
Great way of communicating that, because you have essentially a curriculum.
Right. Yep.
And you're teaching algebra. And he's going, hey, the trigonometry here is this. And you're like, yes, you're right, but we're not in trig yet.
Yep.
Like we'll progress to that stage. I think that's really important for us parents to get, is you can be right, but be wrong.
Right.
And it's not our job to tell them, do this, do that. And yeah, I love that example, man.
Yeah. When I talk to my parents, so right now I'm coaching a varsity team, and I sit down with them before the season. I say, this is what I need from you if you really want to help the season go well.
Right.
And the first thing is, I said, as fans, be encouraging, cheer for everyone.
Yeah.
You want to celebrate your child. You want to celebrate other people's children. That's great. And I tell them, I go, ideally, don't coach your own kid. Yeah. So that's my job. I'm asking that you trust me to coach your kid. However, I do think there's times where you just can't help it. And I'm okay with that. Like, I understand. But I also tell them, never coach another person's kid.
Yeah.
Right. Because I do see that where parents will be like, their daughter Sophia's open in the corner, and then they yell at Lydia over here, Lydia, pass it to Sophia, right? It's like, whoa, 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 don't coach the other kid. Or Lydia shoots the ball. Stop shooting the ball.
Right.
And it might actually be the right thing.
Right. But it's not your job.
It's not your job. It's the coach's job.
So important, because now think about Lydia and Sophia and Jennifer and Abigail, and everybody's saying, pass it to Abby, pass it to Sophia, pass it. And if you're a 12-year-old, shoot, I'm 52. And if I got all those voices yelling at me and I know how to, and I'm trying to please everybody,
right?
Like, what do I do? What do I do? And that's just deflating, sucks the joy out of everything. Like, I don't want to do this. Everybody's yelling at me.
Right.
That's how the kids are going to feel. You did say something, though, that cued another thought. And you said, I understand you want to coach your kids sometimes, so I give you grace for that. Really cool. Really understanding if coaches can say that. I would take that coaching your kids a little further and say, us parents need to help get more involved, particularly at the younger levels, with being an assistant coach. Mm-hmm. You actually can do it. And then if you would talk, let's say Kevin's the head coach and I'm coming in as assistant and I don't know, let's say volleyball, and he's kind of a volleyball stud. Okay, great. What do I do, man? How do I help out? Yeah. And you be there. Now I'll also have a greater understanding of Kevin, what he wants, the values. I can just emphasize those things. And a lot of youth coaches are flying solo. And guess what? They're volunteers. They're moms and dads too. Yeah. And work comes up for them also, or other kids have commitments. And if the more of us will get involved, we can just stick within the game plan. You don't have to be like on the U.S. Olympic team or anything to know how to coach kids. Yeah. Getting that involvement is precious time and opportunity you might have with your kid that you'll never get back, and you probably won't regret it. And you will probably learn something from that process as well.
Yeah, no, that's good. So I have celebrate, mm-hmm. don't coach, mm-hmm. and then the last one, and let me turn to this camera here because I think this is the most important one as a coach. And I'm speaking to all the parents out there with knowledge and without knowledge of the game, of whatever it is. It says, please do not correct the refs. That is one of the most difficult things as a coach to deal with, is when you have mom and dad over there yelling at the refs and you think that you're helping. In reality, you're hurting. So let me give you an example. I had a parent a few years ago that came to me at halftime very excited because he saw that they were not counting 3 seconds in the key. And so he decided that he was going to count 3 seconds in the key every single time. And so he comes up to me at halftime and says, hey, coach, I'm going to let you know I'm going to still count 3 seconds in the key. It's ridiculous. He's not going to call that. And so I turned to the dad and I said, hey, I just want to let you know it's really not helpful. He's like, why? That way they can see it. I go, no, they can see it, but now they're never going to call it. And he looked at me and I said, yeah, and you're actually making my job harder, because before you started counting, I pulled the ref over and I said, hey, man, can you watch 3 seconds in the key? And then the ref turned to me and he said, hey, man, I see you sitting in there, but he's opposite and it's not an advantage, so I'm not going to call it. And so, okay, well, as long as you do that on the other end, I'm cool with it. Right? I might not agree with it, but we can live with it. Right. So as a coach, what I do is then I go tell my big man, I said, hey, if you're opposite the ball, don't feel too quickly about leaving the key. The ref's going to let you sit in there. But when you count 3 seconds in the key, they're going to call it on my guy first. Mm-hmm. And so that's just a one example, mm-hmm. but that's continuous, where refs, they start to discount your voice and they end up taking it out on your kids.
Yes.
And oftentimes you're probably wrong. Basketball parents, please don't yell over the back. It's not in the rule book. It's not a call. Yeah. Parents don't realize that. Yeah. But it's one of the biggest things refs complain about. Can you tell your parents that over the back isn't a call? Am I wrong, coach?
No, it's actually literally not in the ear. But we heard that growing up.
Right.
So because we heard that growing up, in the same way, like your story of deny. Well, that's what my coach taught me. Right. And that's not wrong.
Yeah.
Right. However, and to go back to the refs piece, you have to understand, particularly in these youth tournaments or in league games, frequently in youth at Saturday, Sunday, you're going to have refs my age or above. I know some 70-year-old refs, and they're working 4, 5, 6 games. Mm-hmm. And so what happens is they understand what they signed up for. And they understand that they're probably going to be underpaid and that their joints will hurt after this. And they're going to get up and down, and this is their way of giving back to the game. And so they have some patience in that first game for some of the stuff they hear.
Yep.
But it's building up. You're filling up there. It's not the love tank. You're filling up something else. And then the second game. And you come into the third game, and they're already full. And they're just human beings who've been criticized the last 2 hours, somewhat nonstop by people on both sides of the stands. And now you come in, and you're that group that just, it overflows. Somebody gets thrown out of the gym, or they're like, as people, oh, okay, I've had enough of this. You want me to call it travel? Oh, okay, yeah, no, I'm not calling that travel. And I'm not saying that's right, but this is where it also doesn't help the team. There's human beings who've basically been berated the past few hours, and we're adding to it.
Yeah.
On top of that, outside of all that with the refs, if our values as coaches, we tell them, don't argue with the refs, focus on the play. They're not going to get it right. We have enough to think about just in order that we would do our stuff right. And if you're thinking about how to correct grown-ups over there to do their stuff right, we're going to get lost. Okay, great. But mom and dad are doing it, and I follow mom and dad. Yeah, now it undermines my voice of what I'm teaching about sportsmanship and focus to the kids. That's really important, parents. Like, man, do lay off. And I get it. The refs will blow it. In the same way that your kid's not prime Michael Jordan. They're going to blow it too. It's all right. It's youth sports.
I think that for the most part, the refs don't have an agenda.
Yeah.
They're coming in there to give back to the kids.
Yeah.
Here in California, where we do a lot of travel ball, there are 10 to 13 games for travel ball.
Yeah.
And that's a ridiculous amount of games. Okay. In varsity sports, your refs are typically doing 2 games, like 1 game and another game after that. So there's a lot for them to do, but they're just coming and they're serving. And so I'm very grateful for the refs.
Yeah.
But then the other part is as a coach, as you are on the refs and you're berating the refs, you're actually not letting me do my job.
Yeah.
And I tell my parents, I say, hey, lay off the refs. Let me talk to the refs. Let me work with the refs. Because what you see, I see.
Yeah.
And so I'm communicating with them. And so I think there's that level of trust where parents, as a fan, celebrate, encourage, you can react, but let's lay off the refs because it makes my job harder.
Yeah.
Am I wrong as a coach? It makes your job harder.
No, 100%. And that whole atmosphere of wanting to coach and wanting to correct the referees, both from the parents, and again, we're parents and coaches. So wanting to do that is having a negative effect on youth sports. And there's less people that want to coach high school. There's less people that want to get into refereeing, but youth sports is growing. So how exactly then do we expect the games to go if there's less coaches, more players, less refs? I mean, it's actually a little bit of an epidemic in a sense because good youth refs are quitting. Good youth coaches don't want to do it because they don't want to deal with us.
Right.
And same in high school. And we need these grown-up authority figures to help us use the kids' passion, their sport, whatever it is, to mold character, to develop skills, and hopefully to end up raising leaders. We can't do that without the youth coaches and without the youth referees, and we're losing good ones. And honestly, parents, I hear it all the time. It's because of us. And I sit in the stands and I hear it in different states. And we probably wouldn't be real proud sometimes. I'm not beating us up. Notice saying us. If we had to watch ourselves during the games, we'd probably be like, oh, can you not show that to my kids? That's probably how we would feel.
I have a few parenting moments that I am not proud of as a fan.
Oh, super.
So Alex and I are often commenting out of, we're speaking to a choir here, right? We recognize. Now, you might be sitting there and listening and like, Kevin, a coach's job is hard. Who cares? As long as it doesn't impact my kid, I'm going to yell at the refs. And my response to you is, I think this is where you can walk out of this podcast with something that's really tangible is, and Alex already alluded to this, but modeling.
Yeah.
Right? So how is your child going to react to the calls is going to be based on how the coach reacts to the calls.
Yeah.
Right? So that's important as a parent, but how you are reacting to the calls. So if your child goes and misses a layup and you're yelling at the ref and you're chewing him out, and then he gets up, what is he going to want to do? Come on, ref. That's terrible. Right? But if he misses the layup and you shout, get up, get back on defense. What is he going to do? He's going to get up and back on defense. If he's at the batter's box and he goes and it's a ball, it's an obvious ball. Ref calls strike 3, right? That's a terrible call, ref. How could you? You need glasses, whatever it might be. Versus, hey, get him next time, son. You got to go out there, get him back on the field. And so what is your child's mindset going to be as he's going to model what you've been modeling? So I think that's huge. And then if I want to get even closer to your heart, if you're listening to this podcast, you're probably a parent who wants their kid to have a chance at college athletics. How your child responds to adversity is huge when it comes to college coaches. And if they're modeling you being a fool, then the college coaches are going to step back and go, do I want that? Am I wrong, coach?
No. These guys are my friends who are doing this recruiting. And I know coaches who would both intentionally go to games that wouldn't be a big game when they're recruiting somebody, just to see how the kid acts when it looks like it doesn't matter, how they're responding, what's the atmosphere like. I also know that coaches will want to see the bad game and see how they respond.
Right.
That's part of that recruiting process to see, because as a coach, at a higher level, I'm in charge of my locker room.
Yep.
I got to worry about this is an individual sport. I'm in a team sport. So I'm worried about us. And if I see what us coaches call a cancer, and if I go, I'm going to have to manage that, is it worth it to have that kid to have that ingrained behavior and then bring it into my locker room? I know, and we wrote about this in the book, Coach Danny Hurley, Coach Don Staley, basketball coaches talk about recruiting parents. And what do I mean? They look to see how the parents respond during adversity. And if the parents parent the kid when they screw up and correct the kid and look for the kid to be accountable, look for the kid to be responsible, they go, ooh, I like that family. That kid's going to be coachable.
So you're telling me that how I respond as a parent might impact what coaches?
They're looking. They're legitimately looking. Like coaches are looking at you. So, and then the flip of that is if I model all that behavior and do what you're doing, they're looking to see how we respond as parents. They're then also looking to see how the kid treats their parents.
Right.
So if you've raised your kid to be a respectful person, they're also looking to see how that kid treats other adults. So if you've modeled this behavior in the midst of adversity, I'm still going to treat people well. In the midst of a bad call, I'm going to respond and make the next play. The coaches who are recruiting are looking at the parents, looking at the kid, looking at the reactions, going, coachable, winner, right there. And I love a phrase I first heard maybe 17, 18 years ago, a guy named Danny Silk. He said something like, I am not going to give you the power to take away my ability to honor you. So I can honor you as a human being, even if you're not acting right. And I'm not giving the behavior that I don't like, missed call, I shouldn't have been subbed out by the coach, my teammates should have passed it to me and they didn't. I'm not going to give you that power of that decision and say, I don't have the ability to now act honorable. I still have that ability. You're not that powerful to take that away from me. And I thought it was such a powerful phrase for us. That's what I want my kids to get. Because people in life, boss is going to act wrong, teammates going to act wrong, corporate teammates going to act wrong, something's going to go wrong. People are always looking, how do you respond? And as coaches, that's what we want out of our kids. As parents, that's what we want out of our kids. These are important and fundamental things.
So as a parent, what can I do to support the coach?
Oh, again, I would say parent. I like to try to think about how many people can I encourage? So whether it's another parent whose kid's struggling, you know what? Let me tell you about Owen. Owen, I'm not going to say his last name, sorry. But he's one of my favorite teammates over the last 4 years that my son's had. Great kid, great. He might be struggling shooting the ball, but you see how hard he's playing?
Right.
I love your son, man. That's encouragement.
Yeah.
Kid on the floor makes a play. Great job, Max. Way to run. Great job, Livy. I can't believe you just did that. Incredible. I will actually even extend it to like a kid I don't know. Man, great hustle, 24. Keep playing hard.
Yeah.
That's a good job, bud. Because they're kids, right?
Yep.
And so if we do that, I'm not getting in any parent's way, any coach's way, any player's way. It's all like, keep going.
Yeah. No, I think one thing we can add is, and this is kind of, that's the public outside, you know, how are you supporting the coach? I think there's a behind the scenes you can support the coach.
Okay, yeah.
Is how you speak about the coach in front of your son or daughter.
Huge.
Because I think if you are a parent that as you're driving home, you're like, you know, Coach Bill, he was terrible today. He blew that game for you. He should have subbed you in it. What kind of play was that? I can't believe you didn't put you in to pitch those last innings.
Yeah.
Right. If you're constantly tearing down, and maybe it's private in your own car, your vehicle, right? Or your own home, how you speak about your coach in front of your child is now going to impact how your child views him as a coach or her as a coach. And so I think that's something that's real important. Super. If you can not protect your coach, but limit your negative views, really protect the coach from your child seeing the negative light, because that's not beneficial.
Yeah. And so I would always, to build on that, assume the best. Mm-hmm. If you teach your kid to assume the best and you assume the best, we all make mistakes. All of us coaches, all of us parents, all the players are going to blow it.
Yeah.
But we're like hypercritical of the coach who makes the call that we consider a mistake. But what about all the calls that he made that were right? We don't remember those. And so if we can tell the kid, like, look, man, we're all going to make mistakes. But particularly if you like the person that is, focus on the good. That coach is putting his time in for you.
Yep.
That coach is trying to help you guys out. I'm grateful for him. And who knows, that might have been actually the right, but that's not your job to think about it. Mm-hmm. I'm just glad you get to play for this person. You get to do that. And then now it's kind of that you can still listen to and validate your kids. How come the play didn't go for me? Well, there's a lot of stuff going on in the game. Right. But this guy, this lady cares about you and is putting their time in to try to bring the best out of you. They hear that. It's really different than that. Yeah, man, I don't know what he was thinking, which is what actually happens sometimes.
Awesome. All right. Well, we got to wrap this up.
Okay.
And so I want you to give one advice to a parent-coach relationship.
Initiate as the parent. So too often we hang back and wait. Walk right up. Hey, my name's Alex. Great to meet you. Thank you so much for volunteering. Like, it's awesome. I don't have time to do this. I'm not great at this sport. Thank you. I just want to say, if my kid's ever out of line, let me know. If he's doing something good, some way I can support you, let me know. I'd love any feedback, but you don't owe it to me. I'll be here. Anything I can do, just give me a holler. Now I'm initiating relationship and kindness. Be like,
that's good.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. I would just finish with this, is know you're being watched. So model the behavior that you want. You're being watched by other coaches, other parents, your own child, and potential college recruiters who might want your kid on their team. So model the behavior that you want your kids to show on the court. With that said, thank you for listening to the Parenting Athletes podcast, where sports, character, and parenting come together. You can be a part of the Parenting Athletes community by following us on Instagram and Facebook at Parenting Athletes.